He sat at the wrong table on a blind date. But what happened next changed his life forever. A janitor, a CEO, and one unforgettable mistake. This isn't just a story about love. It's about fate playing its perfect move. Before you skip, hit like, subscribe, and share this story if you believe that destiny always finds a way. Turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next part, because this one's just getting started. In a world where people chase money and status, James and Rebecca found something real: honesty, kindness, and a connection that no title could define. Sometimes the wrong table can lead you to the right person, because when fate decides, it never misses. It was a rainy Friday night in downtown Boston, and the glow of streetlights shimmered across puddles that painted the city in reflections of gold. Inside Le Mirage, one of the city's most elegant restaurants, the air buzzed with quiet laughter, the scent of fine wine, and the soft melody of live piano. Men in tailored suits and women in glittering dresses filled the room, their conversations blending into a symphony of privilege. But at the entrance stood James Porter, a humble janitor in his only suit, breathing deeply as if to calm the pounding of his heart. For him, this night wasn't about luxury. It was about hope, a rare, nervous hope that maybe, for once, life would surprise him kindly. James wasn't the kind of man who believed in fairy tales. He had grown up in a working-class neighborhood, raised by a mother who taught him that dignity wasn't about what you wore but how you treated people. Every morning he cleaned offices where executives discussed millions over coffee, and every night he dreamed of becoming an engineer, though college always seemed too far to reach. His co-workers joked about his quiet life and empty dating record until one day his friend convinced him to try something new: a blind date. The woman's name was Ava, and through short messages and shared jokes she seemed genuine. They agreed to meet at Le Mirage at 7 sharp. James didn't belong in a place like that, but he saved for weeks, polishing his old shoes, pressing his suit, and rehearsing what to say. He arrived early, his palms sweating as he scanned the crowded restaurant. Candles flickered at every table, reflecting in glasses of red wine. Then he saw her, a graceful woman sitting alone near the window, her black dress simple yet striking. She was scrolling her phone, a hint of impatience on her face. That must be Ava, he thought, and before fear could stop him, he walked over, forcing a smile. "Hi, Ava?" he asked softly. The woman looked up, startled, then smiled faintly. "Yes," she said, her tone curious. James didn't notice her hesitation. He only saw kindness in her eyes and felt relief that she hadn't laughed him away. As they talked, his awkwardness melted into something natural. He told her about his small apartment, his love for fixing things, and how he once built a homemade heater for his mom's room during a freezing winter. She listened with growing admiration. To her surprise, this man wasn't trying to impress. He was simply being himself. She found that rare, even refreshing. He made her laugh when he accidentally spilled water on the table, his face turning red. "I'm sorry," he muttered, embarrassed, but she smiled. "It's okay. It makes you human." As the evening went on, James felt lighter than he had in years. The woman's warmth made him forget the calluses on his hands and the exhaustion in his bones. But as the waiter whispered something to her ear, her expression flickered. Recognition, surprise, then composure. She looked at him again and smiled as if nothing had changed. "So, James," she said softly, "do you always make your first dates this interesting?" He laughed, shy but happy. He didn't notice the glances from nearby tables. He didn't know that his real date, Ava, was sitting 2 tables behind, waiting for someone who never showed up. And he certainly didn't know that the woman across from him wasn't Ava at all. Her name was Rebecca Sterling, CEO of the very company where James mopped floors every night. But instead of anger or mockery, she felt something unexpected: admiration. For the first time in years, someone had spoken to her like a person, not a title. And in that mistake, something truly extraordinary had begun. When dinner ended, James instinctively reached for his wallet. "Please let me pay my half," he said, his voice soft but firm. Rebecca tried to protest, amused. "James, really, it's fine." But he shook his head with quiet determination. "It's only fair." She paused, watching him with curiosity. No one had ever said that to her before. In her world, people either tried to impress her or take advantage of her status. But here was a man who didn't know her title, didn't care about her wealth, and still treated her with the same simple respect he gave everyone. She found it oddly refreshing. When they stepped outside, the rain was still falling lightly, misting the golden city lights. Rebecca turned to him and said, almost in a whisper, "Thank you for tonight. It was unexpectedly wonderful." James smiled shyly, rubbing the back of his neck. "I should be the one thanking you," he said. "You made a janitor feel like somebody." Those words lingered in her heart long after they said goodbye. That night, Rebecca lay awake in her penthouse apartment, unable to sleep. The city hummed below, but her thoughts stayed on James, his sincerity, his warmth, his complete lack of pretense. For once, she didn't feel like the CEO of Sterling Enterprises, surrounded by deals and deadlines. She felt like a woman who'd met someone genuine in a world that often wasn't. The next morning, while the sun was still hidden behind gray clouds, James returned to work. He put on his worn janitor uniform, grabbed his mop and bucket, and began his quiet shift, cleaning the marble floors of Sterling Enterprises. But as he passed the boardroom, his heart stopped. Through the glass walls, he saw her. Rebecca, dressed in an elegant suit, standing at the head of the table while executives listened intently. His stomach dropped. "She's the CEO?" His hands trembled, and for a moment he considered walking away before she noticed him. But then she looked up. Their eyes met across the glass, and to his surprise, she smiled. Not the polite kind of smile that CEOs give their employees, but something genuine, familiar. After the meeting, Rebecca walked toward him, her heels clicking softly against the floor. "Good morning, James," she said casually, as if they'd always greeted each other this way. He stammered, his face flushing. "Miss Sterling, I didn't know—" She stopped him gently, a playful light in her eyes. "I know," she said, "and that's exactly why last night was perfect." He blinked, confused. "You're not mad?" She laughed softly. "Mad? James, you gave me something money can't buy, honesty." From that day forward, Rebecca found small reasons to visit the janitorial floor, a misplaced document, a broken light, or simply a cup of coffee she just happened to bring. Rumors started among the employees, but she didn't care. Those quiet hallway conversations became her favorite part of the day. And when Sterling Enterprises launched a new employee scholarship program months later, no one was surprised to see James Porter's name at the top of the list. During the award ceremony, Rebecca handed him the scholarship certificate herself. Their hands brushed briefly and their eyes met, the same unspoken connection returning between them. Both smiled, remembering that rainy night, the spilled water, and the beautiful mistake that brought them together. Sometimes fate doesn't make mistakes at all. Sometimes it just rearranges the tables, so that two people who never should have met find each other exactly when they need to.